Well, good morning. I'm back. So y'all better hold on to your hats because I'm going to bring you a week worth of a conference packed into about 25 minutes or less. And I'm going to tie it into our topic for this month, which is it brings forth life, the power of creation within us, that higher love we just sang about. And we're going to look at that by looking at what is alive in our organization right now, what is alive in this center here in the heart of Las Cruces, and what is alive in you and in me individually. First of all, before I get totally started here, I want to say that one of the things that's so alive for me is a wonderful practitioner who was born 59 years ago. In 1959, we want to celebrate and give great thanks for Teresa Valenzuela. She brings great joy and that higher love into this center. So thank you so much for that. So I'm Reverend Bonnie, the community spiritual leader here, and I just went off, in case you don't know, to the Spiritual Living Convention, which was a gathering of all of us, where we celebrated the fact that we are centers for spiritual living. And I have to say, I think I need to stay next to this. Oh, here we go again. I give thanks for the technology, even though it keeps me right here. This year's convention was one of the best I think I've ever been to. It was well organized, the music was fantastic, the speakers were wonderful and inspirational, and they took us on a journey. They started out by sharing with us from the youngest in our communities. We heard from the youth. We saw a video made at the youth camp. We heard from our youngest ministers with inspirational talks, and they moved us through to the group that they referred to as the ones with decades of experience. And that was, so I don't know how welcome it was, but it was welcome. The guy that was the one with the most decades of experience. But anyway, then we also looked at our archives. And the person that put our archives together talked about the importance of the roots of where we've come from. The roots that keep us strong in where we've been to support where we're going, to support the newness that's springing forth right now in our youth movement. The overall theme, like I said, was we are centers for spiritual living. Think about that. We're not just talking about this organization. We are centers for spiritual living, each one of us. And we are a movement called the Centers for Spiritual Living. So from the youngest, we were reminded or told about the Emerging Leadership Retreat, and I want to share that with you. It's called the CSL Next Generation Retreat for Spiritual Adults, age 18 to 35-ish, they put on there. It will take place June 1st through June 4th. Their focus, social justice, thriving financially, creating healthy relationships, developing leadership skills. And this will take place in Northern California, the Black Mountain Retreat Center. Their vision is that we have a representative from every single center around the world present at this next generation retreat. So if any of you are between the ages of 18 and 35-ish, and you would like to go, let us know, because we would want to support you in that process. Last year, 15 out of the 35 young adults who went to this retreat have committed to going into the ministry. Now, that's not necessarily the point, but what that says to us is that our movement is still alive and well, that there are youth that are coming forward that are going to carry this forward for us. And so from those youth that spoke to us, or the younger ministers, we were reminded about the activity in the Diversity Council, and we were reminded about putting the social back into social justice. That social means making relationships, connecting with each other, and that's what social justice is about. Getting to know people in other communities and cultures, making those connections that bring about the justice that we want to see for people in the world. We were reminded that charity is one-way giving and social justice is two-way giving. It's about that relationship building and about that collaboration. And they spoke to that so eloquently. So what I'm here to tell you is that the social justice core in our movement is alive. That's part of what's alive in our movement right now. And we were reminded that we are birthing a world that works for everyone. This idea has come to that place where we're really starting to birth it. And we were reminded that in birth, sometimes there's discomfort. But this brilliant young minister said that discomfort is not always discord. Discomfort doesn't mean discord. That we're just uncomfortable as we bring together cultures that aren't used to being in each other's presence. There's sometimes discomfort as we learn to adjust, as we bring together different generations, as we bring together people from different countries. Sometimes there's discomfort, but it's not discord. We were also told that we have been intimate with the infinite, and so we are pregnant. And there were several in the decades of experience group that went, I'm not sure I wanted to be pregnant again, but, this theme wove its way through the week. It felt like a month. It was a wonderful time. So we have been intimate with the infinite. And in doing so, we've conceived this idea of a world that works for everyone. And we're now in that process of birthing it. So again, with pregnancy and with birth, there is some discomfort, but we recognize that as part of the process, and we allow that to be as we move through it, knowing that we're birthing something absolutely fantastic through this vision that we're holding. So I wanted to share with you, okay, they were right here. Hello. There they are. Sorry about that. 2 brochures that I picked up. This one is from the Diversity Commission, and it says, Embracing Diversity and Celebrating Inclusivity. I loved that. Their mission is to provide resources, education, and support in alignment with Science of Mind principles, creating and maintaining an atmosphere of inclusivity for all beings. Their vision, we are a visible evidence of inclusion. So that's a commission that's open to having people participate in, learn from, and be a part of as we move this movement forward. The other brochure I picked up was from the Global Services Committee. And they serve to further the expansion of the organization and the teachings of the Science of Mind around the world. What they wanted us to know in here is that as of early 2018, the Centers for Spiritual Living have 48 official communities as centers, teaching chapters, focus ministries, or study groups in 22 countries outside of the US and Canada. Some of those countries, well, this is the list of those countries actually: Argentina, Australia, Barbados, Cameroon, Canada, China, Costa Rica, Crimea, Germany, India, Jamaica, Kenya, Mexico, the Netherlands, Nigeria, Norway, Peru, South Africa, Spain, Switzerland, Thailand, the Ukraine, the United Kingdom, and here in the United States. Those are the official centers, are in all of those places. They also have informal groups and spiritual living circles like what meet on Mondays here in lots of other places around the world. And so we're pushing out there and growing. One of the things that the Global Services Committee has put together is a creation of the Heart of Peace Collective Peace Meditation Project. And that's based on Ernest Holmes saying, peace is the power at the heart of God. Peace is the power at the heart of God. The Heart of Peace initiative is based on the principle that there is one life. Peace is an essential quality of that life. Meditation is a primary way to experience peace, and through our collective meditation, a field is created that raises our vibration for more peace. So if you would like to join us on Thursdays at 4:30 here at the center, we are joining them around the world in the Heart of Peace meditation. So, the main take-home message that I got from all of the different things that were shared with us during this week at the convention is that the best way to manifest this world that we want, this world that we envision, a world that works for everyone, is to start living from our vision right now. Start right now living as if we already have that world that works for everyone. And what that means is that whether we're at home, whether we're in school, whether we're shopping or driving, whether we're here at the center interacting with each other, we're continuously asking ourselves, is this supporting a world that works for everyone? Is what I'm about to say or do about to support that world that works for everyone? And if we're making a decision, we ask, which way will support a world that works for everyone? One of the things that came to me is I think there's an outdated paradigm, and I'm claiming that it's outdated. I think it's very prevalent within our race consciousness, which is how Holmes referred to how we as a human race start to think based on ideas that we perpetuate and that are not necessarily in alignment with the overall truth. So that paradigm that I've heard a lot is you can't please everyone all of the time. And so then I started thinking, well, does a world that works for everyone mean a world that pleases everyone all of the time? Or is there something else that means? And what does that mean? What does it mean to work when it's working for everyone? So I thought about our Sunday meals, and I thought this provides a perfect example for us to look at in regard to what does this mean, a world that works for everyone? What I know is that when we come together over a meal, for some people this has been their main meal of the week. What I know is that when we've come together, for many people this was the only home-cooked meal they had throughout the week. And for many people, this was their time to connect with other people. Several people in our community live alone. They don't have people to sit with over a meal very often. And so the Sunday meal was their opportunity to sit with their spiritual community and their spiritual family and make that connection that creates social justice, whatever we want that to look like, that connecting with each other. Before I left, Reverend Terry asked me, what are you doing over there at the Center for Spiritual Living that none of the other centers in this area are doing? You're growing. I thought about it. We're teaching the same things. What we do differently is we sit down to a meal together every Sunday. And so I started thinking about that as being how it is that we've grown this community. But what I also started hearing was that for those who were doing the work, who were doing the shopping, the cooking, and the majority of the cleaning, we're starting to feel like, or we're definitely feeling like, this isn't working anymore. We've gotten so big. It's become such a task. So I realized that it was time for this good thing to evolve to the next good thing. I firmly believe that within every question there is an answer, that within every problem that crops up there is a solution. And one of our speakers was a practitioner named Tracy Brown, and this is what she said. We are centers for spiritual living. We are committed to communication and collaboration. We may experience conflict, but there is a God-guided solution within every situation ready to express. A God-given solution within every situation ready to express. And so I had to remember, I brought myself back into that center. There is a God-given solution to the situation of how do we still sit together and have a meal and make it work for everyone. I trust that as we stay open, and as we stay focused on our vision, which is what we create from, that God-guided solution will emerge. We tried one thing. We tried saying, well, let's see if the angel clusters can do it, and that got uncomfortable. That discomfort showed up. So we knew that was part of the process as we moved to the next best thing, which was announced today and which we sent out over the newsletter. We'll start with the first Sunday of each month as a potluck. And after that, we will just trust that Spirit will bring what we need to have to share with each other, that we can still sit down, have coffee, or whatever we need to do to make those connections. Because I firmly believe we don't do this based on martyrs or victims. We do this on two-way giving, that which creates our social aspect of who we are, that there is enough food to feed us spiritually and physically as we come together, anytime that we come together. Tracy Brown also quoted Reverend Roger Teal from the Mile High Center for Spiritual Living, and he says, "Hospice what is ready to die, and midwife what is ready to be born." Hospice what is ready to die, and midwife what is ready to be born. So as I contemplated that over the last couple weeks, I realized that I'm not so good at hospicing those things that are ready to die, especially when it comes to ideas that I've grown attached to, or when it's people who I've grown attached to in my community. Each time someone tells me that they're moving on, that it's time to leave this community, it feels like a little death to me. And I grieve that. I have a hard time gracefully, I see hospice as a graceful way of passing to the next experience. And I have a hard time sometimes being graceful about that. So each time someone leaves, I have to remind myself, or each time an idea is ready to die and move to its next greater expression, I need to remind myself, where do we create from? Where do we manifest from? I need to go back to my vision. That vision that we are working in loving partnership for the good of all. And one of the things we say we do as a loving partner for the good of all is we support all people on their spiritual path. And so I started to see that we are situated on people's spiritual path, and sometimes we're a youth hostel, maybe a hospice too. We've hospiced some people through this community that we have lost. But we're also like a youth hostel or an elder hostel, where they come in, make themselves at home for a while, and then it's time to keep moving on that path. And so I get to remember that as a loving partner to this person as they're going through life, I get to share with them the time that they're here, their time and their talent and their treasure, and I need to stay grateful for that while they're here. And then I get to support them as they're ready to move along their way. Now, one thing I did decide is it's okay for me to cry. Sometimes I just cry when I hear somebody's leaving, or when there's an idea that I was really attached to and it's not working. I need to recognize that sometimes there's going to be that grief. But one of the things that Tracy Brown also said is we take the opportunity to say goodbye and let go. We note and cherish what we loved about each other. And as we hospice what is ready to die or move along, we don't make it bad or wrong, we just let it go. And that was a really good reminder for me too. We don't have to look at it and get really angry or say this is bad or this is horrible. We don't do that when someone's passing. We cherish them. We love every moment we can remember about them. We surround them in love, and we can do that for the ideas that are needing to be hospiced, the situations that are going on, and we can do that for the people as they choose to move on. We don't have to make them bad or wrong, or make any situation bad or wrong when it's ready to evolve to its next highest expression. We were reminded that Ernest Holmes teaches there is nothing to heal, there's only something to be revealed. There's nothing to heal, only something to be revealed. And so as we let the way our meals have been hospice and move along, we get ready to midwife what is next. And in that process, we give great thanks for how blessed we've been with wonderful food, amazing cooks that just organized and brought this together for us, the healthiness that was provided for us each Sunday, and the community that it's developed. We can cherish that. And I know that the blessings continue as we birth something new, something that works for everyone. As our speakers moved into those that had decades of experience, we heard from Reverend Dr. Christian Sorensen from the Seaside Center for Spiritual Living. And he grew up in this teaching. His parents were steeped in the teaching, and he is just dynamic. So I will say that one of the things we can do is purchase videos of all of this, well, I guess now CDs, of all of these talks. And I'm planning to see if we can get the board to do that or help with that. And then provide an opportunity for you to see the actual speakers in action. It was amazing. Totally dynamic talks that came from the youth all the way through those with decades of experience. And Reverend Christian is an amazing speaker. He comes out of a drama background, and he has this teaching down solid. So one of the things that he reminded us was that Ernest Holmes said, if we believe in two powers, we will not make it. We must heal any sense of separation. Well, I just read that there's nothing to heal, but only something to be revealed. So what is being revealed in that sense of separation is that there's really only oneness. There is not spirit and a problem. There's just spirit. So as we manifest from our vision a loving partnership for the good of all, we are partnering as one of the one with the one. So should thoughts arise like this person's out to get me, or they're making my life miserable, or no one cares about what I need or what I want, these thoughts are places to reveal oneness, to move back into living from our vision. So we can ask ourselves when these things start to come, I don't know, maybe it's just me that starts to have those kinds of thoughts. But when they come, I am now committed to remind myself to ask, how can this work for everyone? That's what we're envisioning. I now open to reveal that God-guided solution to this situation, knowing that it will work for everyone. And I will affirm I lovingly partner with all those involved. Reverend Sorensen also said, your happiness is only restricted by a thought you haven't double-checked. So think about those thoughts I just said. When those thoughts come in, it's time to double-check them, to look at what's really going on. What's the real truth here? What is the vision we're upholding? What are we living by? And how can we bring that about? So we double-check those thoughts. Again, your happiness is only restricted by a thought that you haven't double-checked. Reverend Sorensen emphasized a lot of other things, too, that I want to let you know about. He said that standing for equality or equity is not about politics. It is our God-guided, rightful state of being as a diverse community of human beings on this planet, that we are all one. He said it's time to take our philosophy to what is relevant. It's time to take our spirituality out to the streets and say, this is valid here and now. We are where we are supposed to be right now at this time, because what we are teaching and what we're about is what people are ready to hear. So like I said, I will bring these talks to you so you can see the expression through all of our wonderful speakers. The other things that happened for us during this week are we did our business of the centers. It is our business meeting. We got reports from the various committees and cores. We learned more about our foundation, the larger foundation, and how to create endowments that can support this center, our individual centers, beyond, say, the generations that have decades of experience. And we did our voting. Out of voting, we now have a new field leader who replaced Reverend John Waterhouse. And our new field leader is someone who's dear to this center, at least those who were here back in 2014, because this woman came and helped our board move from having me here as interim to being the permanent minister. She said, well, looks like she wants to stick around. Looks like you all are happy with her. Let me see what I can do. Because technically, the interim doesn't stay as the permanent minister. That was Reverend Sharon Hudson. She's now our field leader, which means she will be the face of CSL out there and moving around and being, being part of who we are out in the larger community. Her personal purpose is to know oneness, to see the divine everywhere. And she does amazing things. So we were very excited about that announcement. Whoa, okay. The lapel mic works now? Maybe, maybe not. Okay.
We're good.
On this one? We're on this one?
No.
Stay where I am. All right. There is so much more that happened. There are speakers that I haven't been able to mention, and there were messages that I got through the music that were fabulous. The music was out of this world. It was amazing. I kept wanting to bring our house band and say, you know, I mean, it was new. It was different. It was amazing. It was just fabulous. Everything had a message. Everything had something where I was taking notes constantly. But the icing on the cake for me was the speaker that they brought in from outside our organization. And one of the things they do, what I've noticed at least, is at the conferences, they'll bring in somebody who's not part of our movement, but who's doing something amazing out in the world, and let them speak to us so that we can learn from what they're doing. And so this woman that they brought in was Treya Claassen. She's the CEO of Design House Collective. I Googled her because I didn't grasp everything they were talking about when they introduced her. But I would suggest if you want to know more about her, she's an amazing person. And she works with multi-million-dollar organizations. But her focus is how to create the best company culture possible. And her guiding vision, what guides her entire organization, is a world that works. So before she was able to even start talking for us, she literally was in tears. She said, I didn't know you guys existed. Her whole purpose in life has been to create a world that works, and here's a whole organization that says, we are about a world that works for everyone. She loved what we were about. She says, I'm going to make sure that you get known. I'm not only here to be a speaker, but I'm going to work for you gratis to get this word out. She was so excited about who we are and what we were doing. So it took her a while. In fact, I think she was a little stunned because she wasn't used to preaching to the choir, so to speak. And the thing she kept saying we need to do, we were all, yeah, that's what we do. She was just blown away, but she had some really good things that I took from what she had to say and sort of re-oomphed some of the things that maybe, like I said, we've known. So one of the things, well, her talk, first of all, was called The Power of Alignment, a Created Future for Spiritual Living. And she taught us, or told us, that we create from our why we exist. And that's everyone individually, and that's any organization. So she encouraged us to create a sentence. I exist to blank, what? So I exist to, and it wasn't to do something. The doing part is the how of what it is we exist for. So she kept working with our sentences till we got it down to basically the ultimate experience that we exist to have. The how we get there is later. It's in the mission versus the vision, so to speak. So what is your personal purpose? What is your I exist to blank? And it's not about existing to be the next Mother Teresa, Martin Luther King, or Gandhi, or the like. As part of the one, our part, I exist to what? And then everything that we do and say and decide is filtered against that. This is what I exist for. Is this supporting that? Is what I'm saying supporting that? Long ago, I decided that my personal purpose, and this was back in one of the classes I took when I was still in Albuquerque, I decided that my personal purpose was to give God a good time through me. And I defined good time not as just partying and playing, but if we look at what God is, all those God qualities of light and love and peace, that somehow I was going to allow them to move through me so that they were expressing in a great and good way, and that they were having fun while they were doing it. Even if there was discomfort, I can still be giving God a good time through me as I bring about more light or joy in the world. So that was my personal purpose. It still is my personal purpose. Then we were encouraged to look at what is the center's we exist to sentence. Our vision right now, and I don't know, given this, maybe it'll evolve, but right now our vision is a world in loving partnership for the good of all. So we exist to create a world in loving partnership for the good of all. From there, everything can be, well, how are we doing this, and does this match up to that vision? As a larger organization, we exist to create a world that works for everyone. Now, the thing that I really got from what she said that was fun for me is she said, then we no longer manage people, we manage our vision. It's no more about worrying about what other people are doing, but we look at the vision and say, how do we, in support of this vision, respond and create a way that makes this world and this situation work for everyone? And we can say to people, since she works in businesses, she says, okay, I hold up, here's my vision. It says a world that works. When you arrive late, it's not working. Are you in alignment with this vision or not? And if they choose to not be, they take themselves away. She doesn't have to fire people. She says, this is our vision. Are you in alignment with it or not? So I love that idea that we manage the vision and not people. Ernest Holmes said in Creative Mind, all that will not measure up to the standard must fall by its own weight. All that is in line with the truth must prosper. And Eugene Holden, who's a practitioner and is writing the readings for the Science of Mind magazine, the daily readings for this month, he wrote, defining truth for yourself is a worthy endeavor. When you define what is true for you, everything that does not serve your truth will fall away. It may not happen all at once, but it will happen. So again, what is your I exist to? And how is what you're doing in your life and what you're experiencing and expressing lining up with that truth of who you are? So I am proposing that the next time something isn't working, whether it's here or in your life, if you have a commitment to being in alignment with that vision for yourself, or here being in alignment with the vision that we have at the center, then you can decide to allow that God-created, that God-inspired solution to come forward. We can always remember that there is that God-guided solution. And then we can remind ourselves, well, what is our vision? And what is my personal purpose? So how can I act in accordance with that? How can we move that forward? We had a visitor that was here last month who came to our visioning that we had last month. And he said, one of the things he shared, we share after the visioning what came through. He said, I think you all live by your vision. And I was a little surprised because I thought, I mentioned at the very beginning of the service, and I was surprised that he would know what that is. I said, well, what do you think our vision is? He said, well, that last line of the song that you sing, is it kind or true or needed? He saw that we were living by that vision. Well, we say in our community commitment, is it kind, well, that song, is it kind and true and needed? And our community commitment says, we will treat each other lovingly, gently, and with respect. Both of those sentences are how-tos. Those are some of the things we are committed to doing to create that loving partnership for the good of all. But I thought it was wonderful that he recognized that in the people he met here, that he felt that we were living that vision. So I thank you all for your part in that. Yes, she's got her hand up.
I want to respond to Reverend Terry's question.
Can we finish this or what?
Oh, I'm
Go ahead.
sorry, I thought you were finished.
No, I'm not done.
Say it anyway.
All right, go ahead.
The reason that Reverend Terry was saying, what are y'all doing? Center for Spiritual Living. We have Reverend Bonnie.
But it's not, you only have me speaking once a month. So we are all sharing the same speakers, we're all sharing the same message. I think it's all of us. Because it's not just me that welcomed this person in here, it was all of you. He felt safe here. He felt that that song exemplified who we were. And I think that's fabulous. That means that my goal as the community spiritual leader is working because you all are welcoming people in that way. That's what it means to me. Thank you, Pat. So, in May, which is only a few months away, we will be looking for some new board members. It is our annual meeting, and we'll be looking to have that meeting and look at where we're headed, where we've been. And so we'll be looking for new board members who live from our vision, who want to advance this vision, and who have the time to devote to moving this vision along. So I'm going to encourage all of you to contemplate, I exist to blank, fill in the blank. And then I'm going to encourage all of you to contemplate how you are individualized centers for spiritual living. Individualized centers for spiritual living within this Center for Spiritual Living in the heart of Las Cruces, within the centers for spiritual living around the world. Is your personal why I exist in alignment with our vision to create a world in loving partnership for the good of all? And is your personal why you exist in alignment with the larger vision of a world that works for everyone? And if it is, and if you have that energy to be a part of our board and are interested, please see John or I. And if you're not interested in being on the board, it's still part of how we live. It's part of our culture here within this center. And everything, I encourage you then from now on, every action, every decision, every utterance that you make goes through that idea of, is this in alignment with why I exist and the vision that we hold here to create a world that works for everyone in loving partnership for the good of all? I know that as a center, we are lovingly partnering with each other when we meditate for peace together, when we come together on Sundays, when we cook and serve and clean up together whatever meals that we are having together, as we provide our community with the larger community, inexpensive pancake breakfasts or meals during the Howling Coyote, we're partnering with them. We're partnering with each other lovingly as we discuss how this stuff works in our sacred circles and as we foster and grow our angel clusters. We are partnering with each other as we provide a venue for someone to raise $3,000 for a family that needs help with their medical bills. I thought that was fabulous. Yeah. We are partnering with each other as we share this philosophy that uplifts and changes lives. And so from now on, I propose that every decision be made with our vision in mind. Every action be made with our vision in mind. And every question that's asked, every situation that arises, know that there's a God-guided answer ready to be expressed from right in the midst of that. We are living from our vision. We are living science of mind. We are practicing science of mind, and we are centers for spiritual living. So I ask you, what's alive in you today? I encourage you to ask each other that over the meal that we share today, and so it is.